I'm Anne from Game Like a Mother. Today I'm going to show you how to play Tsuro by Calliope Games. It's ages 8 and up, 2 to 8 players, and it takes 15 to 20 minutes to play. Let me show you how. The goal of Tsuro is to be the last person remaining in play on the game board as you all follow paths and move around the board over the course of the game. I have set up a 4-player game here, but you can do up to 8, and all you do to start is each person picks a marker, and starting with the oldest person, you place them on one of these start markers around the side. So you take turns placing people, and we have a house rule that there are 2 markers on each side. You could technically place, someone could place here, and then later you could place yours right beside them, but we don't do that for our house. We like people to be spread out a little bit to start out. Next, after the markers are placed in their start positions, each person is dealt 3 of these tiles face down. At that point, the oldest player gets to go first again, and they would look at their pieces and pick whichever one they wanted to start. So let's say they picked this one, they place it right by their token, and he moves to the end of the path. And at this point, they draw a card, have it face down, and their turn is over. In a 2-player game, you would take out this dragon tile. It doesn't come into play. But if you have 3 or more players, you use this later on in the game because tiles will run out at that point. So what they recommend to do is just put it in the bottom of the stack. And an easy way to keep the game moving and having people know that it's their turn is just pass the stack on to the next person when it's their turn. And then they would pick one, play, and was he here? Here he goes to there. And then they draw a tile at the end of the turn and pass it along. And it makes it clear whose turn it is. And then it's easier once you run out and get to that point. Rules of tile placement. So the goal of the game is to keep on moving and not go off the edge or run into another player. You cannot purposefully place a tile so that you have to go, this would be a very short path, you go whoop out and lose. You can't do that if you have any other options in your hand of tiles. So he could do something like this instead. Also, you always have to play at the end of where you've already placed your tile. You can't decide to place somebody else's path for them. You can't play on another side of your own tile where you aren't there, or on a diagonal. It has to, every time you place a tile, your marker is moving forward. Here's what it looks like to be eliminated by crashing into another player's token. It does not happen on this tile. Blue played this tile, and the order is whoever the active player is goes first. So blue would go to the end of that path adjacent to him, and then any other player's tokens that are adjacent to the new tile then progress to the end. So their paths crisscrossed, but they did not run into each other, so they were not eliminated, neither of them. Then we draw a tile, pass this along. It is green's turn, and let's say he plays this tile. He goes first, and he crashes into black. So if that's what happens, that's how both green and black would be eliminated. This is a lot further in the game, and I'm going to show you what it looks like to have the dragon tile get involved. So it is blue's turn. They place a tile, move up, draw the last remaining tile card, and then the dragon is what gets passed on to the next player, who's green. He plays a card, and he is unable to draw any more tiles now, so he has the dragon card, and that means if somebody goes out, their remaining tiles go to back onto, like, this is starting the draw pile again, and then the player will get to have, this is the first person to get first dibs on more tiles, even if play progresses. So it's black's turn, and we'll just say this is all he can play. He has nothing else, and he's going to go off the edge of the board, and he's out. He lost. So at this point, he puts his cards on top of this dragon tile, and this player here who had the dragon tile gets to collect one, and then the dragon tile with the one remaining one is passed on, and then the same thing happens if red places a tile, and then gets this tile, passes it on to this guy, blue, who's going to play, not have a tile afterwards, and is saying the dragon tile is saying, I get first dibs on any tiles that become available after my turn. Here's what the end of a game would look like. Let's say all 3 of the remaining stone markers have ended up down here, and it is green's turn. Green can choose to play this tile, which takes him off to the side. These 2 run into each other and are out, and green would be the winner. Another option would be if green had to play this tile and all 3 players go off the board based on the same tile. This is where it doesn't matter that green goes first and then the other 2 players complete their moves. They've all gone off at the same time, so they're all winners together because they were the final 3 left on the board and they went off at the same time, so all 3 of those people are tied for victory this round. Also, if you somehow play all of the tiles and 2 or more of the stone markers are still left on the board, then they still tie for victory that round. So that's how to play Tsuro. It is a simple but elegant game, and it works well for a larger group of people. So check it out. Thanks, and see you next time from Game Like a Mother.